This is not a numerical linear algebra course, but since I mentioned numerical problems at the end of last video, let's briefly discuss those. Our primary theorem of this section is that A is invertible if and only if the determinant of A is non-zero, but we can't find determinants exactly. If A is even reasonably large, we certainly can't work by hand. Instead, we can only approximate the determinants using various numerical algorithms. So if you start with A and you find that the determinant of A is something like this, what does that tell you? Well, this is not zero, so it tells you that A is invertible. But this is also precisely the kind of number you'd get if the determinant is zero, and we're just seeing a little numerical error. So certainly, if we could be confident that this is the determinant, we can get information, but we can't be confident that this is the determinant. Maybe this is the determinant, maybe the determinant is actually zero, and we're seeing a little rounding error. Now, this is not the only place that situations like this arise, but what makes it particularly bad is that the determinant of A being close to zero gives absolutely no information. What you'd kind of expect if you have a result like this is that if you have a determinant like this, it tells you something about the inverse other than the fact that the inverse exists. Maybe the determinant being really close to zero means that finding the inverse is going to take longer than usual. Maybe the inverse being really close to zero means that you're going to get a lot of numerical error when you take the inverse. It really feels like having a determinant of this and having a determinant of this should be giving you different pieces of information. I mean, neither of these determinants are 0, but this determinant comes so close, whereas this determinant isn't close to 0 at all. But no, either the determinant is 0 and the inverse does not exist, or the determinant is non-zero and the inverse does exist. And since rounding error makes it almost impossible to determine when a determinant is exactly 0, as a numerical tool, it's kind of a bust.